talking about it.
Sir, I've done nothing wrong. You can verify my identity through dispatch.
Don't start talking like you're above this. I know what I'm looking at.
You're looking at a federal judge.
I don't care who you claim to be.
Turn around. You match the description, and I'm not debating it. Officer, I've done nothing wrong. You can verify my identity through dispatch. Don't talk like you're above this. I know what I'm looking at. You're looking at a federal judge. I don't care who you claim to be. Turn around. At 9:47 p.m., the sound of handcuffs clicking shut echoed under the harsh fluorescent lights of a gas station. Judge Claudia Brennan, a federal district court judge with 17 years on the bench, stood restrained, her hands pulled behind her back. Officer Dennis Kovac accused her of resisting. She wasn't resisting. She was asking questions. And that, apparently, was enough. This wasn't a misunderstanding that would be cleared up in minutes. It was a mistaken identity. It was a veteran police officer seeing a black woman in professional attire and deciding, without evidence, that she must be a suspect. What followed would spark a Department of Justice investigation, end careers, and expose a system many had long questioned. The gas station sat quietly at the corner of Westfield Avenue and Route 22, glowing under bright lights that never turned off. Judge Brennan had stopped there after a long day at the courthouse, preparing for a major fraud case. She wore a navy suit, her robe left behind at work. Her silver sedan rested at pump number 4. At 9:43 p.m., Officer Kovac pulled in. He was responding to a vague report. A dark sedan, possibly silver or gray, driven by a black female. No license plate, no make, no clear identifiers. Still, when Kovac saw Brennan, he made his decision instantly. Silver car, black woman. That was enough. He didn't run the plates, didn't verify the report, didn't observe any suspicious behavior. He simply approached, with his hand already on his weapon. Judge Brennan noticed him but thought nothing of it. Police often stopped there. She finished pumping gas and reached for her receipt. Then his voice cut through the air. Step away from the vehicle. Hands where I can see them. Confused, she complied and calmly asked what was wrong. Instead of answering, he repeated the command, louder, sharper, warning her she was seconds away from being labeled non-compliant. What she did next mattered. She identified herself clearly, explained she was a federal judge, offered her ID, suggested verification through dispatch, kept her hands visible, stayed calm. Everything she did was textbook de-escalation. But Kovac had already decided. To him, her confidence sounded like a lie. Turn around. She asked for a supervisor. At the station, she asked what crime she committed. You match a description. What description? Stop talking. Moments later, she was in handcuffs. Security cameras captured everything. They showed her standing still, hands raised. They showed him forcing her arms down. They showed the arrest. A bystander asked if everything was okay. Mind your business, Kovac snapped. Another person began recording. By 9:51 p.m., she was in the back of a patrol car. For minutes, that's all it took. For minutes to trigger a federal investigation and unravel a career. Inside the car, Judge Brennan sat upright, silent. She had spent years ruling on civil rights cases, writing opinions on unlawful detention, teaching others about constitutional protections. Now she was living it, not as a judge, as a victim. At the station, things changed. Sergeant Phyllis Dunham took one look at the situation and knew something was wrong. No vehicle confirmation, no plate check, no real evidence. When Brennan identified herself again, Dunham acted immediately. Within minutes, the watch commander was involved. The handcuffs came off at 10:18 p.m., 31 minutes after they were put on. Judge Brennan didn't raise her voice. She didn't argue. She made one request. Every report, every recording, every name involved. Then she made a single phone call, and everything changed. By midnight, federal authorities were notified. By morning, the story broke. By afternoon, the footage was everywhere. Public reaction was immediate and explosive. Officer Kovac was suspended that same night. Months later, he was fired. But this story wasn't about one officer. It was about a pattern. Judge Brennan dug deeper. She requested records. What she found was undeniable: disproportionate stops, repeated complaints, ignored warnings. She wasn't the first. She was just the first who could fight back. 2 weeks later, she filed a lawsuit, not just against Kovac, but against the entire system that allowed him to operate unchecked. The case exposed failures in training, supervision, and accountability. It forced change. The settlement didn't focus on money. It demanded reform, better oversight, mandatory training, real accountability. And this time it stuck. Years later, the impact was measurable. Fewer unjustified stops, fewer complaints, less force. Not perfect, but better. Still, the damage remained. For Judge Brennan, the trauma didn't disappear. Seeing a patrol car behind her still raised her heart rate. Sudden movements still triggered tension, because trauma doesn't follow logic. And that's the part people don't talk about. Not just the cost in dollars, but the cost in trust, in safety, in peace of mind. 5 years later, she would sit in her courtroom and watch a young man describe an arrest that sounded painfully familiar. This time, she understood, and this time, she acted, because in the end, this wasn't just about one night or one officer. It was about a system that only changed when someone powerful was affected. That gas station still stands today. Cars come and go. People pump gas, unaware of what happened there. But for 31 minutes, that place became proof of something bigger. How quickly assumptions can turn into actions. How easily authority can go unchecked. And how much it takes to force accountability. That's the weight of 31 minutes in handcuffs. And the cost of being seen, not for who you are, but for what someone assumes you must be.